Basketball, it's still at high school, bro. It doesn't stop.
Look at him.
Yeah, got the whole squad.
Look at him. All right. Well, here we go. We finna go. What's happening, y'all? Hey, hey, hey. We are on one more again. It's in Brotherly Love, and we're right back at you. As you can see, we're 2 out of the 3.
Again, we make it work. We make it do what it do.
We make it do what it do. Yes, indeed. At you. Let me make sure that I turn that down so that we don't have that echo. We're gonna go ahead and kick it from the top because you're generally number 2, so you number 1 tonight, Jeff. Look at you. You showed out tonight, bro.
I know I got to show up in here. Hey, look, this is Jeff Gordon coming at you guys from the field, Cam. We're back at you, right back at you once again. I'm a HBCU grad. I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm a dad.
AAU dad.
AAU Uber dad, whatever you want to call it. Hey, y'all know what it is. Shoot, y'all parents out here got these kids playing sports. Y'all know exactly what we doing. We riding back from something. Always something up and down the East Coast. Anyway, HBCU grad from the Hampton University, the standard of excellence. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jason.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Again, this is the baby of the bunch, Jason. That's the voice, Gordon, coming at you live. I'm an HBCU grad. I'm a graduate of the best HBCU known to man, always in the top 2, and we ain't number 2. None other than the Mecca, Howard University, home of your MVP, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. I am a husband. I am a father. I am a son. I'm an uncle. And I'm a brother to this gentleman and the gentleman who ain't here right now.
Shout out to the warrior lawyer.
Shout out to the warrior lawyer who is doing warrior lawyer things right now. Slaying dragons. And we've got a special guest tonight. We've got Miss Lynaia Jordan on with us tonight. And we're going to have just a real candid conversation. And we're going to have a candid conversation. We're going to be responding to you all in the chat, man. Keep the flow going. We're going to have Miss Lynaia Jordan going ahead and introduce herself to the party people. Go on ahead and let them know who you be.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lynaia Jordan. I am a Baltimore Hard Knocks Life Street Learning University graduate from Baltimore City. I'm also an author. I'm a film producer and a playwright. I am a wife and a mother of 3. And I'm also assistant director for a nonprofit and the CEO of my own nonprofit for the youth of Baltimore. And it's a pleasure to be on the podcast tonight with these 2 very, very, very brotherly love young men here tonight. You muted.
You're on mute.
Oh, thank you. Y'all caught it. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But we are going to have a really candid conversation. Oftentimes we've gotten a lot of feedback from our viewers, and you guys seem to like to talk about relationships and that whole 9. And we want to know some things like what women want men to know and what women want to know from men. So we're just going to have a candid conversation on that subject. We've got 2 married people tonight, so it's going to be an interesting perspective. We can also give a perspective on what it takes to make your relationship last. I've personally been married for 14 years. Well, I'm going into my 14th year. Excuse me, been married for 13. This will be my 14th year come November 8th. Mrs. Jordan has been married for...
I've been married for 13 years, okay, but we've been together for 19.
So they've been together. They got some staying power. You feel me? They done weathered the storm, and the fact that they still together at the end of COVID is also something else to be praised. You know what I'm saying? Because there are a lot of people that went into COVID
and didn't come out.
They didn't come out
the same.
They didn't come out the same.
They couldn't do it.
Couldn't make it.
I don't even like you no more.
Captain, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. From Star Trek. So we're gonna have a nice candid conversation. Good evening, Selena Turner. We see you there in the chat. But yeah, if you guys want to chime in, throw some questions out there in the chat, we're here, and we're here to let it flow. So Lynaia, you say you've been together for 19. married for 13. What are some things that kind of helped you guys weather the storm of the years? Because right now we're both in that phase that we would call that itch phase. So in being in that itch phase, what's keeping things going strong for you?
So I would basically say being able to compromise, learning your partner, understanding who your partner is, and just being able to compromise. Communication, I think, is like really the biggest key, because no matter what, if you're able to, talk through it, I think you're able to overcome anything. And I think that's really been our thing. I'm gonna just say me personally, because my husband has always been like 100% like knowing about relationships, because his family has marriages, 30-40 years marriages. I come from a different background in relationships. Okay. So once I realized that communication and what unconditional love is, I think that's what really helped my marriage and my relationships stay on track like it is now.
Okay, that's what's up. I mean, to be honest with you, if I'm going to keep it a buck, it's going to sound cliche, but one of the things that I'd say that's probably helped my marriage is God. Like I can't even, you know what I'm saying? I can't even fake on that. Like I know everybody said, put God first, and that's what you hear all the time. But like real talk, that's real though. That's a real statement, because honestly, if it wasn't for the relationship that we both have with God, there would be times where we probably would have tore each other limb from limb, and we definitely would have been on our way. I know me personally as a man, being that, traditionally, when you look at it biblically, you're supposed to be the priest of your house. So I definitely pray over my house. That's something that I do constantly. And I know that prayer definitely helped. But then to piggyback on what you said, then it comes down to communication and learning how to communicate effectively. And communication isn't just talking and trying to figure out how to convey your message, but it's also being able to listen, and to listen with understanding. I had to stop listening to respond. And to be real with you, I didn't learn how to do that until I took a class in counseling when I was pursuing my master's degree. So that was actually humongous in helping my marriage, and taking that class in counseling, and then also getting counseled in that class, learning my triggers, learning the things that kind of make me, I guess you could say, have blackout angry moments, even though it's never really gotten, bad, but, things that kind of, those things that pull my trigger that'll cause me to flip. Because generally I'm a high-strung, happy guy. Right, Jeff? High-strung, happy. And happy people, they're considered polar. You know what I'm saying? They have one side.
It's something like that. I mean,
Geminis are considered that too. I've always been told that, being a Gemini queen myself.
Okay.
We are polar.
Okay, so you have a side that can flick.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were some things that you didn't know before, let's say, meeting your husband, or while you all were dating? What are some things that you didn't know then that you wish you knew now? Or what are some things that you didn't know that you learned throughout the process that could help some of our viewers better understand their mates?
Learning, being a female, and being, especially African American women, I've noticed like a lot of us always try to be so strong and so dominant, I'm gonna say. So being that type of female, I've learned that I don't always have to run my mouth. So yeah, I don't always have to.
Hold up. Somebody, fellas, are y'all screenshotting that? Did y'all hear that? Wait a minute. Did you get that? Jeff, did you hear that? I wasn't the only person that heard that, was it? Okay, all right, go.
So I have recently started to learn how to like not say nothing and just be like, just be quiet and listen and not say nothing. Submissive, someone just said. if that word. But I ain't used submissive, but I'm just learning how to like hold back a little, and because that come along with compromising, you know, like you hold back a little because you already know where a conversation can go within speaking and talking in a few minutes of it. So when you hold back a little and let the other person talk and go ahead, then I think that's what I really, you know, learned from the beginning. Because at first, boy, I had a mouth on me.
To be honest with you, it's so we talked about what men wish women would know and what women wish men would know. I know one thing that I can say, like in kind of taking where you were going with the comment about the mouth, is like, honestly, it's not oftentimes just what you say. It's not, well, actually, it's not how you say it, it's what you say. And one of the biggest things that happens with men, like, and I hear a lot of women say that they want men to be better communicators. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things that you can do to have a man shut down his communication is by taking his words and using them against him. I know, like, when you start arming words and arming vulnerable moments, like if I tell you something during a vulnerable state and you bring it up in the course of an argument to use it against me, like that's going to cause me to shut down. Because as a man, what we want most is to find a place. Like, granted, we're hard all day long. As a Black man, we got to be hard, and we have to be able to carry our feelings. We have to be able to maintain our emotions. We have to be able to put on so many different fronts amongst so many different wars. And I'm sure Black women do the same thing. And when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and to let down and let go of some of our innermost thoughts, if you decide to use those moments in the heat of battle against us, that is the quickest way to get us to shut down. So I guess you could say using those words to fight fair.
So Jason, let me ask you a question, okay? So
go for it.
So when you think about, have you ever looked at relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, marriage relationships, and have you ever really sat back and thought about the different levels each person is on, or their upbringing, and how that may change how your relationship goes, or how you would like for your relationship to go? Because a lot of times they say opposites attract, and I believe that that's true, because me and my husband is total opposite. But
are y'all really opposites, or more compliments?
It's not even. I get where she's going with this question, and what I will say is that those things, do you take those things into consideration? Yes. And those things you take into consideration when you decide whether or not you want to pursue something deep, lasting with that particular person. Mm-hmm. Like, because honestly, if I'm not every man, so I'm not speaking for all men, but I know that's something that I would consider, because sometimes their upbringing brings about a certain amount of trauma. And when it brings about a certain amount of trauma, you have to be able to decide, okay, am I willing to help them grow through this trauma? Are they healed through this trauma? How has this trauma shaped them? Because sometimes you can use that particular trauma, and if you know the trauma, sometimes I could say that I was willing to compromise and willing to adjust because of, I recognize the prior trauma, and I recognize that a certain amount of grace has to be given because of the trauma that they've been through. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it does allow me to look at it through a grace lens, because sometimes you have to, like, you get a certain reaction and you're like, yo, why did they react this way? And sometimes you have to step back and step away and kind of look at it through the lens of maybe the trauma that they've been through has caused them to react to certain situations this way. But that all comes to a part, and just like unconditional love, which is something that you mentioned earlier, it's something that allows you to exhibit a certain amount of grace, and it's something that you have to intentionally do in order to make the relationship work. Because if you don't intentionally do it, that's going to cause a schism in the relationship. And once that schism starts, what can start as a small crack can eventually become a canyon.
So do you think it's on a man perspective, on a man's level? Have you ever seen that question that came across Facebook where they asked it's a husband and it's a wife and it's the husband's mother. Yeah, it's the husband's mother.
Okay.
They are all going out to an event and the husband opened the front door and the mother goes to sit in the front seat. And how do you think the wife feel? So, and you are in this scenario. So how do you feel about that? And then I'll tell you what I think about it.
So again, that also involves, upbringing and so forth and so on. You look at it through the lens of certain upbringing. So number one, the way, and I'm sure because mine's probably watching, Zelmar Gordon would not go towards the front seat unless my wife gave her permission to go to the front seat. When I opened the car door, would I open the car door for both? Yep, because that's the way we was raised. You know what I'm saying? Like, but Zelmar Gordon wouldn't go towards that front seat. Excuse me, baby. Like, can I do this? Give me a second, all right? That's my daughter. But Zelma, my mom would not go towards the front seat. So like that scenario, like you said, you have to look at it through your particular lens. So and through my particular lens, that scenario wouldn't happen. In my situation, unless like if my wife would have to say, Noah, no, Ma, you go ahead and sit in the front, and that would be what my wife would do because she's yielded the front seat to her mom, she's yielded the front seat, to my mom. She'll just be like, it's more leg room up there. You're an older woman, you sit up there, I'll sit in the back. But if it was like other than that, that scenario would just fall mute on us. Am I right, Jeff? Because I see you nodding your head a lot as you drive me. Like, yeah, Zelma ain't.
Yeah, now you'd have to almost make her get in the front seat. She wouldn't just automatically jump in the front seat. So if it was yielded, you still.
Oh, my man's in the woods. He's coming back from the woods, folks.
Coax her into the front seat, and after some assistance, then.
Yeah, so I guess what would that situation look like for you, Lynaia?
So I just would have to agree because my mother-in-law, she don't just go for the front seat. She always go to the back, but I just told her, no, come on, you go ahead and sit up front. And she be like, no, you sure? But I read some of the comments that was like online and everybody always tried to compare the husband and the mother and the wife. And you know how it always gotta be those three people. You'll never hear about, the father-in-law, the father. You never hear scenarios about father-in-laws and daughters and fathers, husbands. You always hear about the mother, the wife, and the mother-in-law.
Because the thing is, the father-in-law, once the father-in-law gives over, care of his daughter to the husband, he is now yielded that control. So I think about, I had a youth pastor, and we used to talk about marriage all the time. This youth pastor had two daughters, and I think one time his daughter, who was married, got in an argument with her husband, and he said, you can come over here and you can vent, but you're going home to your husband that night. And that's just, he's a pastor, I guess, he views it through the biblical lens. So it's like, yeah, you are my daughter, I love you, as long as he don't put his hands on you. You know what I'm saying? If this is just an argument, all right, go on ahead, vent to whoever you need to vent to, but you take your butt on back home because that's your husband now. And basically as a dad, I've given you over to, so I think that's probably where the dads come from. Like, yo, I have ceded this responsibility to this man. Now, if he does something to where he is doing bodily harm to my daughter, that's different. But anything as far as an argument, you really don't, you're right. You don't hear that a lot from dads. You don't.
So within relationships and in your marriage, what has been was your first 5 years the hardest? Or 13?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I am in a very unique situation, in a very unique marriage. Our first 8 years were hard because my wife was in medical school, so she was finishing medical school. She had to go, and we had some issues where she had to kind of go to another place to kind of get ready to take her boards. And then after that, then she had residencies, and then that was another 5 years. So we didn't live together consistently for the first 8 years of our marriage.
Wow.
We didn't live under the same roof, I guess you could say, forever, until our son was 2 years old.
Well, y'all had some kind of living.
So I mean, but no, yeah, oh yeah, there was living. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be living, but but in terms of living in the same place consistently, it didn't happen until 2017, and no, it's not 2017. It was 2015. It didn't happen until 2015. Our son was about to turn 3. And that was when she finally finished her residency. And that was after a 4-year stint in New York. But I mean, we had a long distance relationship. We met on MySpace. For those of y'all who don't know, we met on MySpace. She was in Blacksburg, Virginia. I was in the DMV area. Actually, I had just moved to Baltimore. Basically, I would go down as often as I could. We would see each other as much as we could. And then she went to Danville, Virginia. She did a year in Danville, and then she did 4.5 years in New York.
Wow.
And we saw each other. I mean, that made the quality time, like when we would get together, it made the time, that much more special. It honestly didn't get real until we moved there. Like until it was like, that's when it got real. It was like, now I gotta see you every day, and she's like, well, you like to throw clothes here, there, and everywhere, and I'm like, I had my issues, so it was just, you know what I'm saying? Like it didn't get real until we moved in. Like,
okay.
Yeah, that's when
my husband moved in. He said that when he first saw me, he said he knew I was his wife when he first saw me. And so we started talking in April, and we moved in together in August. So it was like, and we lived together since then. So we've lived together for 19 years.
So y'all ain't played no games, huh? Y'all was like, yo, this is it. You knew what it was. He knew what it was when it was.
I think everything was destiny, because we were destined to meet, because it was just so many. When we would talk about our childhood, and so many connections we had that was already like put together for us to meet. It was so crazy, because he would say something, I was like, I was there, like I was right there, but it's just so crazy, But yeah, so we lived together since we was like 5 months in, and we moved in. Well, he moved in.
Watch out there. But yeah, so we didn't, because actually, oftentimes if you hear about our love story between me and my wife, I call her God's housewarming gift, because literally, I think it was like the day that the day that they had approved the contract on the house, that was like the day I met her.
Oh, okay.
And then it was about, I say 2 weeks after I closed, we met in person for the first time. And actually we met in person on the first time on my birthday of that year. And the day after, or just after midnight, the day after my birthday, we became official, and we've been together since. Because I didn't want my birthday and the day for us to be official on the same day. I wanted my birthday to be unique in its own.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was a little selfish, you feel me? But I mean, it is what it is. Like I didn't want that day to have dual meaning because I feel like the day of my birth is special.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
so it was just like after that point, to be honest with you, I would say one of the things that probably also helped us grow when we were both at a point in our lives to where we were still growing, which gave us the ability to grow together. And I think that's the thing that I think that's the thing that's kind of missing when I look at people that are dating in our age bracket. There's no room to grow. Like you're people in our bracket right now, which is we're gonna say it's the 40 and over crew.
Yeah.
Like right now, we want that ready-made project. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I done got to where I done climbed the mountain. I done got to where I wanted to be. You need to be where you supposed to be. And really, how do we fit together? How do we complement one another in order to make this thing work? There's really not a lot of room for growth, and there's not really a lot of patience in our age bracket for room for growth in this particular age bracket. And I think that's the thing that's missing in the age bracket right now of that 40 and over crew is they're looking to date. That there's no room for growth.
So when you and your wife were dating, right, and you guys were like go out on dates and stuff, and so who would pay? You would pay, or you would split the check down the middle?
So again, this goes back to an earlier statement you made. This is upbringing. So and you know, Jeff, as he's driving, and I appreciate the fact that he's doing this safely. He has not unmuted a lot, but if those of y'all who could see it, you know what, I'm gonna do this just so that y'all can see Jeff's face, because Jeff is nodding a lot. Okay, so the thing is Zelmar Gordon, when she brought us up, she lived on this mantra of she can't stand no sorry a man.
Okay.
She said that by hook or by crook. That is the thing that even though there is a huge gap between me and my brothers, that is the one thing that we both didn't miss. Zelmar Gordon couldn't stand no sorry a man. Okay. So one thing that Zelmar Gordon taught us is you never ask a woman out if you don't have money for the both of y'all. So when we would go out, it's funny story. With my wife was brought up in a 2-parent home, but her mom is dominant. And the thing about that is like when we would go out, I found it funny because she would try to grab the check. And the thing is like, you don't grab no check, you know, and I actually said it to her. I was like, you don't grab no check you're not paying for. So because that's what Mom said. Mom would never grab no check. Dad always handled the check. You know what I'm saying? Like she wouldn't touch it. She wouldn't even look at it. So maybe like the first 1 or 2 dates, you know, I had to comment, and then it was the date when I actually popped her hand in a lovingly sort of way, but I did have to pop her hand one time. Had to pop that hand one time, and from that moment on, you know what I'm saying, she didn't grab no more checks. But in the dating phase, you know, it's my job to court you. It's my job to, you know, to woo you. Now, granted, you can give some equal pursuit. The only time that I think she's ever paid for a date, it was like, it was discussed well in advance. And it was a discussion. And I yielded because it was something that she wanted to do. And then there was a time where she did surprise me for my birthday after we got married, and she took care of that from start to finish, including driving. And my wife don't drive, but she even drove one. Yeah, she even drove. So it takes some discussion, but in the courting phase, nah, she ain't paying for nothing.
So if you think back, like, all right, 13 years ago, if you would have met your wife today on Instagram, right?
Oh boy, this is gonna be a tricky one.
do you think that you guys would have, and you know what you know about the person you married, and she know what she know about who she married and stuff, do you think you guys would still do everything this like all over again?
So
That's a tough one to answer because
that's a tough one to answer. Yeah, go ahead.
With the way the world is today, with the way everything is today. Yeah.
It's a way different world today than it was 13 years ago. So
but
that
we live
would
in
be
it
tough for
now.
almost anybody
So
to
we
answer.
still living in it.
Yeah, but you living it, you know, you're adding a variable in is that you know now things that you didn't know before, and part of the connection is getting to know the person and learning about the person and going through those ups and downs and struggles. If you take those 13 years away, it's a whole different scenario. So I don't know if that would be a tough question almost for anybody to answer.
I mean, honestly, that is a very tough question. I
would
say
yeah though.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, I can't honestly say yes, because
that you would do things the same way. I don't see how you could.
Yeah, no, because
not so much as doing it the same way. I'm talking about like meeting your wife online, y'all getting to know each other, and you marry her. Not pretty much going through the same struggles, because your struggles might not be the same, or going through the same dating process with her going to medical school. But I'm saying the way like how Facebook and Instagram is now, with all of those distractions and everything that's there, and everything is in everybody's face, and you meet your wife online because you said you met her on MySpace, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you would still like
will we still have connected?
Yeah, like
I'm not totally
in that same way.
I'm not totally sure, because like those experiences throughout time have, they have molded me into the man that I am now. Mm-hmm. And they have molded her into the woman that she is now. And without going through those struggles, I don't know if I would have gained an appreciation for who she has become. Because if you go through those struggles without each other, the thing is what you start to look for is kind of like what I say the problem is now with dating. You're looking for a finished product, and you want this product to kind of fit your lifestyle the way that it is now. I think that the reason why we fit each other's lifestyle now is because of the fact that we grew together, and we went through all of the struggles together, and we grew as people together. So we can kind of appreciate where we are now. I can't honestly say that things would work out the same now if we were to initially meet now, if we would have done then, because also in those particular 13 years, we could have gone through a different set of experiences that would have possibly have gotten us to the place to where we probably never would have met.
Man, Sam wouldn't even like him right now. She'd be like, well, I don't want you.
Probably so. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you a question.
I'm a wild boy.
Let me ask you another question. So, like topics that you and your wife talk about, like what, like political topics. Let's say political topics, right? Are you guys like opposite on political topics? And if so, like, is that like, what is y'all big like conversation that I have you guys like, no, that's not, like back and forth with each other? Is it like the political realm, or?
It's not like politics. We're generally along the same, we view politics from a similar lens.
Okay.
It's probably more so social issues.
Okay.
When you look at social issues, like even if we look at the dynamic between men and women, like my wife is in a male-dominated profession. She's in a male-dominated profession where Black women are they make up they make up more of a percentage than Black men, but they make up a small percentage in the overall field. And even in that particular issue, sometimes, the social issues are probably where I wouldn't say we would disagree, but she has a stronger opinion about those particular issues than I do. Like I look at it through I look at it through a different lens. I look at it through the Black male lens. She looks at it through the Black woman lens. And those are two completely different lenses. Do I understand where she's coming from? Yes. That would probably be, but if there was ever one where I could say that we're not, I guess you could say eye to eye on, but we're not far off, that would probably it more so on social issues. And for her love for Beyonce, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. Wow. What would you say you between you and your husband? Oh wait, yeah. Family, okay.
Yeah. Cause sometimes like, yeah.
Okay.
I think that is our, and not our immediate family with our household. I'm talking about our relatives. I think that is the biggest discussion that we always have. Like, because I'm pretty much I'm pretty much old school with the music and the social media. I'm not too good with like all that social aspect stuff. He's more into knowing what's going on and knowing everything. He knows about when the kids listen to the music. He knows about all that. I don't, and I'm like okay with that. But and we don't never, when he say listen to something, I say, oh, I don't want to hear that or something like that. Be cool with that, but I think it'd be just like the trying to get to a medium with our relatives. Yeah,
so what? Y'all don't like each other's family, or you don't like his family?
We do like each other's family. Like we do. It's just like some things that each other's family do, we may not agree with, and we may have a different opinion, and then it'd be like, okay, well, you one-sided because if it was your, and I'm like, okay, well, and it'd be like that'd be the biggest thing.
So y'all arguing about who's gonna bring mac and cheese to Thanksgiving?
Yeah, who mama making the mac and cheese?
Who mama making the mac and cheese?
Yeah, or the seafood salad, or the turkey, or who house, or what town we going.
Who putting raisins in the potato salad or something?
Yeah, stuff like that.
See, so I think we ended up blessed in that way. Because I know like most of the meals, they generally come from my side.
Oh, okay.
So we travel, we go back and forth between the holidays, but like I know one thing, like my mother-in-law loves my dad's turkey. And she loves my dad's turkey. She also loves my dad's sauce. And now that I'm making my dad's sauce, she actually, that was kind of funny. The last time my mother-in-law was here, which was this past week, she made sure that before she left, I made her literally a bottle full of sauce so that she could take it home with her. So yeah, I know the food piece.
Yeah, you can't be trusted. I can see that already.
No. He didn't
told the secret with your mama biscuits.
Nope. Well, we're not going to talk about secrets, are we?
Well, a right kind of love got a lot of secrets. So
hold on, wait a second, Jeff. We're not talking about giving up mama's secrets, are we?
What secret you want to talk about giving up? You talk about
mama mac and cheese. At least mama mac and cheese secret is still within the family.
It is.
Look, he took it. He Mama, if you watching,
puff, blow, puff.
Mama, if you watching, Mama Gordon, if you watching, you know who told about the mac and cheese.
So the secret's safe with me.
So that's a little what we talked about. A little bit about the plan.
Mama gave up the secret to the mac and cheese.
Okay, that. Yeah, you can do that. Go ahead and put it on blast. Yeah,
that's true. That's the fact.
Yeah, Mama gave it up. Yeah, that's all good. Look, but look, it's still the secret remains. So now the potent mac and cheese is still within the circle over here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
I'm gonna let that one go. We're gonna let that one rap.
Did you and your wife agree on you guys both wanting to have kids, and like how many kids?
So that's interesting. That's a very interesting statement. I thought we did have an agreement as far as the kids were concerned. But you know, as the Lord had it, we had our son while she was in the middle of her residency, which kind of went against the agreement that we had made prior to residency. But you know, because of the support system on both sides, like I said, I don't have any bad in-law stories, and you know, my wife would say the same thing, because if it wasn't for our in-laws, like we definitely wouldn't have been able to make it through the last 2 years of her residency with a newborn. So you know, other than that, right now we're on the same page, but not on the same page. Like I'm done in my head. You know, she still kind of flirts with it, because you know, every now and again that baby bug bites her, and she's like, you know, we got 2, I want 3. And I'm like, but if that third one, I was like, that means it's a 50-50 chance that third one could be like the second one, and that second one is running me ragged.
Oh, it's but the middle. So I think you might have another one, because the middle child always is that special one.
Oh, no, it's also the last one. It's the second one. She gonna be the last. She, as far as I'm concerned,
I ain't having no more.
Yeah, I told her, you know, I did leave the door open. I was like, you got to the end of the year. I was like, because I'm getting snipped at the first of 23.
Oh,
yeah, I'm cutting the faucet off. Faucet gonna be, yeah, faucet gonna be off after 23. 23, we gonna be kid free.
Oh.
So whatever you want, you better get it now. So, but you know, but right now we're using birth control methods, and because we're using birth control methods, you know, I'm depending on her to carry out her end of the bargain, and I'm gonna carry out my end of the bargain.
They work, believe me, they work. Coming from a female perspective, I'm like team birth control.
The last one is a special one. Give that girl another baby. What y'all mean? What y'all talking about? What's going on this? I just turned over to the chat real quick. Wait a minute. Nah, Joe. No to all of y'all. No, and no. Okay, no, she not getting another one. It like this 5-year-old right in here. That's the same one that came to the door asking for lemonade. That's the same one. Nah. I'm sorry, folks. Bless your heart. I know y'all want to see another chocolate cherub. Y'all want to see a third one. It ain't looking good in y'all favor. I'm sorry. I just thinking about the fact that I could possibly have a 10, a 5, and a 0. No.
It's sure not. Angela Buckner said vasectomy ain't 100%, and she is correct, because that's what I was getting ready to tell you. Vasectomy is definitely not 100%.
Man, if you get the right doctor, it is.
And now you gotta go. If you gotta go through your follow-up appointment. If you go to your follow-up appointment, you're straight.
Thank you. See, and my brother's the one who's even talked me into it, because before I was against it.
Hey! Nah, I ain't talking to you in the day. Hey,
no, you. I'm gonna put it on you. Look, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You're the one that convinced me. I was like, bet that. Snip the faucet off. Okay, we can cut the spigot off.
Yeah. But you gotta have that follow. Hey, fellas, go to your follow-up appointment. You gotta have that follow-up appointment. It ain't 100% until you have that follow-up appointment.
And I will follow your directions. I've listened to a lot of the suggestions you made over the course of these 40 years, and I've ended up the better because of it.
Do you think kids' age gaps make a difference in when you in a relationship, like where you want to say, all right, L kids is 13, 14, 15, and I don't want to have no more kids after they already at that stage, or that's where you at, like the gaps, because my kids got big kind of big gaps in between them. So I
mean, I feel you. I mean, because right now we got no more diapers. You know what I'm saying? And I got kids that can clearly tell me when they got to go to the bathroom, and that is a blessing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when it was 5 and 0, it was like, you know, having to go through that stage, because part of it
all
was
over again.
Yeah, but actually the one part of it is that we kind of had mixed we had like a mixed raising of our son. Our son, honestly, we were blessed. He was a cool kid.
First one always like that.
But and that's a blessing because he was born in New York, and then he spent the first 3 months in Maryland, then spent the next 6 months in New York, then spent a year and a half with me, then spent another 4 or 5 months in New York. And it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so a lot of his early diaper stages, I didn't get a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I got the full brunt of it with the second child, because the second child was when we were back in under the same roof. So it was me and her, you know, full time. So it was just like getting a chance to experience that. I'm glad I had the opportunity to experience it, but getting the opportunity to experience it, it was just like, yeah, now that she's up and potty trained and the whole nine, just open the door, please. Just open the door. But now that she's up and potty trained and she's talking, and she is a talker, I am just not sure that I am willing to take that 50-50 chance on having to go through that again. You know what I'm saying? What's up? What you need? I can't hear you. You didn't open the door.
So I'm gonna let you know, A Right Kind of Love stage play, right? A couple of the relationships between boyfriend and girlfriend and husband and wife and those kind of relationships, it kind of talks about what we were just talking about, like how when a woman needs a man so much, and then she trying to explain to him how much she needs, but she won't even let him be there for her. So y'all should check that out. All of
since we're here, tell us.
Yeah, I was about to say, you done made the segue. You might as well go on ahead and just go on ahead and get that plug in it. Because we see your background, so go on ahead and put the plug, right. Don't just give us a little tidbit. Tell them where you're gonna be. Tell them what you're doing. Don't give us a half baked.
How much it's gonna cost to get in?
Yeah, don't half bake it, full bake it.
Is that a night out? Is that a date thing? You know, because you got to pay for two, or you going by yourself.
So A Right Kind of Love stage play will be in Bowie at the Bowie Center of Performing Arts on October 1st. The show time is going to change to an earlier show because I've seen that a lot of seasoned individuals like to come out to stage plays, but they don't like to come out late because sometimes they end late. So I believe that we're going to start the show at like 6 p.m. And tickets will be, we have different prices. We do have pricing for seniors, which will be $25. Regular ticket prices are $35. And if you get tickets at the door, it's $45. And it'll be October 1st. It's a very, very, very good play. And I'm not going to say it's a good play because I wrote it or I'm starring in it. It's a good play because it's definitely a good play, and all ages can come and see this stage play. So it's just not for older. We have teenagers in the stage play. I had kids there as young as 2 years old, 3 years old, sitting, being very good kids, watching the play, laughing. They probably didn't know what they were laughing at. They were just laughing because everyone else in the audience was laughing. But overall, it's a great stage play for families to come out and enjoy.
So I did see a question that kind of, well, it wasn't a question. It was something that popped up in the chat. And did you ever experience any postpartum blues? Because I know, like, in situations, in relationship situations, let's even go and we say baby mother, baby daddy situations where they're not married, but in situations, did you find that your husband actually grew? Did you feel that you suffer from any postpartum blues? And then actually, if your husband is around, if he could even say, you know, maybe some of the adjustments that he made when you may have suffered from any of the postpartum blues.
Well, my husband's a little camera shy. He more is.
Well, we can hear him. We can hear him.
He more behind the scenes, but I think I went through postpartum after our second child. I think because I had was my first time really, really like out of work, staying home and not really out there. And I think by the time we had our third child, we kind of had it down pat, and it was easier for us to transition, and he understood that I needed a break.
Thing that helped, I brought a whole bunch of big crabs home at work from work at night.
Hold up, wait, you said you brought crabs home. Hey, G,
Yeah.
hey, speak on that. Hold on, wait. Hold on, pause. We're gonna stick a pin right there. Hey, dog, you work in a crab house?
No, but she used to like crabs a lot. So when we was younger,
hey, man, that's my wife too.
I would bring a whole bunch of big crabs home,
man,
and she would enjoy them.
Hey,
that kind of helped her through it.
It did. Like,
I feel you, big dog.
He would come in the house, and then it'd be like, he worked a lot, so it was like I was there all the time. And I think when women are married and they have babies and their husband, everyone see, oh, she got her husband there, oh, he's there, but then you look at it like, okay, my husband is out working, he's out doing that, like, and then when he gets in, he's probably tired. So if you're a stay-at-home mom and you there with the kids all day, and then you there up all night, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and it be a lot. So I understand how women can go through postpartum and stuff, but for husbands out there, you gotta give, when a woman have a baby, when she asks you, it will tell you that she need a break. I think that you should just listen to her and give her a break. Even if you don't like to change Pampers, call your mama. Because my husband,
I call my mom.
He called his mother for everything. I'm telling you. And he would give me a break. Like when I say I need a break from these kids. Oh, I need a break from the baby. He would give me a break, and it really helps. It really, really helps. And when you come back, you're rejuvenated, even if the break is just getting in the tub, a shower, just relaxing for a little bit without having to have a baby on your shoulder in the tub and they in the water with you, and you can't, it helps. So just listen to that part. I think, fellas, just listen to that part, because women
you on that. Hey, bruh, I feel you on that one, because crabs are like roses, G-Dog.
Yeah, I love crabs.
So like my wife she's from South Carolina.
Okay.
But since she's been married to me, she's kind of grown accustomed and grown adapted to the Maryland way, which is crabs and crab cakes.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, but that was kind of interesting. The second child, my wife had a craving for crabs. So we would go.
Yeah.
Baby,
like we would go to the crab house. Like we had like a standing weekly date at the crab house.
We still do.
I was stopping there like 2 times a week. Man.
We still do, Ron.
Hey, so okay. So that sounds like something for people in this particular area. You know what I'm saying? Once you get them blue crabs, so those of y'all that are from areas that ain't from Maryland, you may or may not understand the attraction and the addiction to Maryland blue crabs. But when crab season hits April 1, because we know that it starts April 1st every year, we know when crab season starts, and actually throughout the year, because sometimes you have to go to those crab houses
all year long.
You got to go to them crab houses that get them crabs from Louisiana too.
When we moved to Virginia, we moved to the Virginia Beach area. And let me tell you, I went, I was like, Jason, I ain't had no crabs. It's like,
her husband's name is Jason, guys.
Oh yeah, my husband's name Jason.
Husband's name is Jason. Okay, all right.
Yes, I was like, Jason, I was like, let's try and get some crabs, right? And we went to a crab spot down there, and I asked for, I got the big crabs. I went home, sat at the table, got my little sauce together, and I was like, I ain't buying no more crabs down here. You're gonna have to drive back home. We're gonna have to get some crabs, put them on some ice, and bring them back down, because I'm not with that. No.
And to be honest with you, like, even vouching for Jason and knowing from experience, like postpartum is real. That is real, and we have to pay close attention to that, especially with our sisters. because like I said earlier, you know, Black men, we're told that our feelings and things of that nature, and we kind of keep those things in and keep them repressed. And we have to listen to our women, you know, when they're expressing those particular issues, because postpartum is real. And sisters and the Black community, we really don't pay a lot of attention to mental health these days. And it is, that goes back to communication as well. Like,
I think it's getting more attention now.
It is now.
Than before.
Correct.
And I think that that is a good thing, because we have a comment here by Miss Guerrero. And if I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. But she said that she had no family support at all. And I know that I'm kind of glad that social media has evolved the way that it has, because now when a person feels like they don't have any support or feel lonely, it is a lot of things on social media, a lot of churches, prayer groups, sister groups, men groups, community groups that are there that can assist with people who are lonely or people who need someone to talk to. So I'm kind of glad for social media, for that aspect of social media, because I know I was going through something one time and I felt like I needed to vent and to talk. And just so happened, something came up on my Instagram, and it was a group praying about the same thing I felt like I was going through. And I listened to them. So Ms. Guerrero, if you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to, or you ever feel lonely, or you need some kind of support, you can come to my inbox and I'll listen and I'll talk to you. And if I can help, I will. So because we need to be there for each other as human beings, not just as African American women there to help each other, or African American men. We all need to be there for each other as human beings in you know, humanity. We need that.
I mean, if there's one thing that COVID has taught us, is that we need to work together in order to make things work. But we have a couple of minutes left. If y'all got some questions, man, let them things fly through. You know, we're here, we're just having an open conversation. But I'm glad for all of you all that have come on to participate. We do have a couple of minutes left. If you have any questions, comments, what do you want men to know? Or men, what would you like for women to know? Or women, what would you like to know from men? And fellas, what would you like to know from women? As we get ready to bring this hour to a close. But we're again thankful for everybody that's been on. You're sweet, I'm good. I was newly married and in California with a newborn. Whoa. All right. Yeah, that I can see how that would be tough. And if you're from this coast and you're in California, I can see how that would be very tough. Especially out there. Again, like I said, I'm thankful for the support system that my wife and I had. We had a very strong support system. We had my parents who were here in the area, and then my wife had her mother was extremely active. Her father had passed shortly after. Our father passed before our son was born. But my mother-in-law was definitely a rock for us. Because when I think about that particular struggle period, to have my parents and her mother that were kicking in ways that you can't even imagine how they were kicking in. They're the reasons why we were both able to make it through those periods where, you know, she was in New York, I was in Baltimore. And they definitely made the load, even though the load was heavy, they made it lighter. But you know, and honestly, they would have made the load lighter if we probably would have told them more. But that was just keeping things, you know, just being a husband and a wife and keeping things between the two of us. But you know, what we did relay on to them, they kind of stepped in and stepped up. And even my brothers and her siblings as well. You know, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law stepped up and stepped in and stepped up. My brothers stepped in and stepped up. So I appreciate the support system that we have, and having a strong support system, I think is another one of those things that is very vital. how can we connect with the author guest? So they want to know how they can connect with you. And I see that Lynaia, if you can type in the chat how they can communicate with you.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, when we get off. Let's see, Monica Jackson, women like when men share without being probed to ask questions. Communication is a two-way street. Monica, one thing that I will say about that is that men, we're direct and we're not mind readers. So certain things, like if there are things that you would like for us to share as a man, and I don't speak for all men, but I'm pretty strong in my opinion of knowing about men. If you don't convey what it is that you need, we're not going to know. So oftentimes, like I said, communication, if you communicate that this is a need and you can't be roundabout with it, be like, oh, I sure could. No, just say, hey, can you help me? Hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? Hey, I need X, Y, and Z, as opposed to saying, oh man, it sure would be nice if. No, we don't do passive information. So things in that particular situation, you gotta, like you said, communication is a two-way street in your comment. You gotta be direct in that. Men, we don't understand indirect comments because the indirect comment is not a comment at all.
Men give indirect comments to Mr. Gordon.
Oh, we do. We very well may. We very well may. And I'm not saying that we don't, but I'm just saying, like,
your brother, Mr. Gordon, number two, Mr. Jeff Gordon, shook his head no. And
because he's direct.
Men do give indirect comments. And yes. Especially when they don't want to have a confrontation with the topic at hand, but they'll give something indirect to throw it off.
But the thing is that if there's something that you want, if it's something that you want or you need, it should be directly expressed. Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead and jump on it.
It's not, I mean, you talking about having a conversation about something, and then you say that you want it to be open and honest, but when it comes out open and honestly, then you're like, oh, I didn't like the way that sounded. So then you don't want to listen. The other thing is, most of the times when men want something, they say, hey, can you get me a glass of water? Not sit there and say, oh, I'm thirsty, and wait for you to get up and get a glass of water.
Boom.
Or it sure is hot in here. And our minds be thinking, well, if it's hot, turn down the air conditioning.
Or take off some clothes.
You're thinking that you want us, or take off some clothes, but you're thinking, well, you really want us to do it. But we're thinking, well, why wouldn't you just take care of it if you feel that way? If you want us to do it,
I've never been indirect, so I can't. That's why I'm saying it, because I'm always direct, so I don't be indirect. I just get straight to it.
Got it together. That's why I'm giving you.
I always ask for what I want, always.
And see, and that's completely different, because now we know exactly what it is that you need. And most men are traditionally fixers, and we're solutions oriented. So if you give us a problem and you say this is a problem, meaning that it's something that you need, we're gonna tend to it. But ladies and gentlemen, we are at the top of the hour, and we're thankful to our guest, Mrs. Lynaia Jordan, for joining us this evening. This has been another. Oh yeah, Jeff, you're normally the first to close it out. So go on.
No. I'm gonna jump in there. Like I said, coming at you from the field camp. We want to thank you, Miss Jordan, for. And Mr. and Mrs. Jordan, sounding Mr. Jordan was in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate you guys taking the time out to be with us on In Brotherly Love. And we'll be right back at you in full force next week.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is the baby of the bunch again. I have to say that because Jeff be trying to fake like we're twins, and we're not. We're 12 years apart.
You're actually the oldest.
We're 12 years apart. He is 12 years my senior.
That's fake. That's fake
12
news. Fake news.
Years my senior. My senior. Okay. But this has been another episode of In Brotherly Love. Hey, folks, this is August 3rd. And in 24 days,
it's coming back at you.
In 24 days, we letting you know the Ain't Got Nothing Better to Do cookout is popping off again at the estate, the 27th of August. Y'all better save that date now, because I'm telling you, you miss it, you're gonna hear about it.
Again, you will hear about it.
You will hear about it again.
From the last time.
You will hear about it again.
I'm gonna have the back ribs, man.
I'm gonna have the look. So since you want to know, we're gonna have the baby back ribs. We're gonna have brisket. We're gonna have salmon.
Y'all gonna have Craig.
We're not going to crabs. You're going to have to bring on your own. Okay. Yeah, crabs you
all
got to bring
right.
on your own. But we're also flying in a chef to do pasta salad. We're flying in a chef to do her potato salad. I might even try to convince her to do some deviled eggs. We're going to have a chef salad. So we got all the sides covered. We're going to have a full-blown cookout.
Potato salad though, man.
Hey, look. And actually, they even done talk me into a couple of pulled pork. So we're going to have pulled pork. We're going to have brisket. We're going to have salmon. And we're going to have a couple of ribs. You better get there, be there, or be square. It is good. Hey, you better put it in your phone, G-Dog. I'm telling you. Because you don't want to hear it. You don't want to see the video, because the video from last year was killer. And that was with little publicity. But we gonna fill up the estate this year. We're gonna fill up the estate. So
we got Secret Society coming out to provide entertainment. We got DJ 5-star coming out to provide the entertainment. Oh, we doing it.
It's gonna pop off. It's gonna pop off.
It's happening.
So save the date. The In Brotherly Love Ain't Got Nothing Better to Do cookout. The second part 2. August 27th, Miss Lynaia Jordan, any parting words and let them know about your play. And we're going to close it out for another episode of In Brotherly Love. And we'll be right back at you next week.
So I just want to say thank you guys for having me on your show. Thank you for getting into topics that other people may not want to talk about. I appreciate that, for you allowing me to ask questions and express myself. And I am going to be at the Bowie Center of Performing Arts on October the 1st. Showtime will be 6 p.m. And it's a Right Kind of Love stage play. And it's a hit. It's a family stage play. Tickets will be online. Go to the BCPA website, and that's where you'll be able to purchase your tickets. Tickets prices are $30. $35 for regular admission. Seniors is $10 discount and $45 at the door.
All right, y'all. It's In Brotherly Love. We'll be right back at y'all next week. Thank y'all for tuning in again. Say hi, Lola, since you popped out here. You just popped out here. I'm not done. No, you might as well say hi. That was rude. But that was Beanie. Beanie just popped through. In Brotherly Love, guys. We'll be right back at you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.